they're up and out the door to go take care of it. The people that stay overnight are volunteers. The laundry is done by volunteers. Our guests are driven from Courage Connection to the shelter by volunteers. Given our all-volunteer workforce and our all-donation budget, it is amazing that Austin's Place is the oldest, most consistent shelter in Champaign County. Because of our all-volunteer staff, we have our guests screened by professionals at Courage Connection before they come to the shelter. The women are checked for extreme drug use and/or intoxication. Their belongings are searched for weapons. Although we have been criticized for excluding some women from our shelter, we have felt an obligation to protect our volunteers from extreme behaviors that could endanger not only our volunteers, but our other guests. These screenings have actually become a blessing in disguise. Those screeners see the women night after night, so they can really detect a change in a woman's emotional, physical, or mental well-being well before the people in the shelter. They'll hear when that cough starts getting really deep and nasty, and they'll offer to take the woman to the emergency room. They'll see when the addiction starts really spiraling out of control, and they'll offer to make that phone call with her, to get her into a treatment center, and even go with her to make sure that she's safe and that she's checked in properly. These nightly screenings have become wellness checks for our guests that don't have anyone looking after them on a daily basis. In the past 3 years, our numbers have grown and our seasons have expanded a little bit each year. In 2016, our season was 4 months long. We provided 301 beds of shelter and served 21 different women. This past season was 4.5 months long, from November 12th to April 1st. We actually started early last year because we had gotten a call on November 11th from Seawood Home telling us that a woman had showed up at the men's shelter the night before. If you remember last year, November was a bitter, bitter weather month. And when this woman showed up, she was frozen. They let her sleep in the foyer of their building, but we knew we needed a better solution. After a flurry of phone calls that morning, we decided to use the library at Seawood Home as a temporary shelter until Austin's Place could open as they had scheduled on December 1st. We were very blessed to have the financial resources to pay for a staff person, and Seawood Home was actually able to find someone in one day to fill that position. We opened at Seawood Home on November 12th and provided 79 beds of shelter in that temporary space. This was the beginning of a very fruitful partnership between Austin's Place and Seawood Home. We worked with Terry and Stephen, the street outreach staff at Seawood Home, to work out the option of late-night entry into the shelter. Usually the women have to go to Courage Connection, and they're not there by 8 o'clock, they're not in the shelter. But Terry kept telling us that they kept getting calls from the police in the middle of the night. There'd be a woman, she'd be in need, and she would be someone who would qualify for Austin's Place. Last season, we were a safe haven in the middle of the night for 10 women. Some were found sleeping on the street. Others had been thrown out of a family home after a disagreement. One woman came to us straight from the ER, fleeing domestic violence. These women came to us with nothing but the clothes on their back and a very deep fear in their heart. Every time I would meet Stephen or Terry at the church so I could take the woman down into the shelter, I knew my heart was going to be broken. Every time, they were so cold and so very fragile. Every time, our volunteer would welcome that woman and work so hard to try to make them feel at home, to try to make them comfortable, to somehow reassure them that for this night, they're safe. Every time, the woman would be so grateful for things that I take for granted every single day. A pillow, a blanket, a jacket, a granola bar. Every time, I would drive home and wonder how I am so blessed. Ladies and gentlemen, this ministry changes you. We finished our season this year on April 1st, having provided 432 beds of shelter to 48 different women. 48 different women is the highest number of different women we've served so far. The day we close the shelter is always a tough one, but this past season was especially hard. For a couple weeks before we closed, the women started writing comments on the sign-on sheet. Where are we going to go? What am I going to do? I need a place to stay. Now, rest assured, we have been working with See You at Home and the Screeners of Courage Connection, trying very, very hard for months in advance to get these women into a housing program. But one very hard fact about working with our guests is that sometimes they don't take our good advice. The shelter closed, but God was not going to let me rest. Day after day, I would hear Sharon, our church secretary, answer the phone and have to say, "I'm sorry, the shelter was closed." Another woman had called in need of shelter. Out of the blue, Beth Baker from United Way called me up, "Let's go have coffee." She pitched this wild idea of teaming up with See You at Home to do both men and women's shelter at their building year-round. Year-round? The idea seemed impossible, but it stuck on my heart. The calls kept coming at church. We heard 2 horrific stories over the summer. 2 of the women that we knew from the shelter had been beaten up as they tried to sleep outside. One of them was attacked by a small group of men who chose to put a video up of the assault on social media. Somebody that knew the woman from the shelter called the police and they were arrested. But the idea of year-round shelter started feeling a lot more urgent. A hard fact about women being homeless became apparent to me in a whole new way. Sure, when the weather is cold, it's tough. But even on a warm, dry, beautiful summer night, women are not safe when they have to sleep on the street. Take a moment and let that sink in. What would you be like if you could not close your eyes to sleep without a deep fear of being assaulted and hurt? Men are somehow better equipped to defend themselves, protect themselves, but a woman is an easy target for theft, physical assault, rape. Last spring, we started earnest conversations with Rob Dahlhaus and Alita Keith from See You at Home, Cheryl Palmer and Corey Blackwell from Faith United Methodist, and Beth Baker from United Way. Where would the shelter be? What renovations needed to happen? Where is the money going to come from? Do we need staff? How do we hire staff? How do we supervise staff? Where's the money going to come from to pay for staff? What if we start this and we can't sustain it? There were lots of questions and very, very few answers. This has truly been a journey of faith. There were so many doubts and so many uncertainties, yet we just kept moving ahead, moving ahead. Rob Dahlhaus from See You at Home has really become quite the spiritual leader during this whole process. He'll always say, "Ladies, if we're on the right path, the path will become clear." And it has. For this season, we will run Austin's Place here at FUMC. We've hired 3 staff members, 1 paid staff person, and 1 volunteer will stay each night with women. The addition of paid staff will provide a consistency for our guests. Seeing a familiar face every night will hopefully help the women feel safe and will build trusting relationships that will benefit everyone throughout the season. On November 1st, 2020, mark that day in your calendar. The plan is to open Austin's Place in a newly renovated, separate from the men, secure space with showers in the See You at Home building. The men's shelter will also open that night. The dream is to have the funding to stay open year-round from that day forward. These are the needs right in front of us. So what can we do? Austin's Place needs volunteers to stay overnight. We need people to do laundry. We need volunteers to drive our guests from Courage Connection to the shelter every night. We need a group to put together snack bags for the women. They get a little snack when they check in at Courage Connection. They're often very, very tired and very hungry. There is an Austin's Place flyer in the bulletin today. Please look that over and very prayerfully consider getting involved in some way. Both Austin's Place and See You at Home need financial backing. Renovations need to be completed at See You at Home to provide that wonderful space I was telling you about over in their building. Austin's Place needs $25,000. We had $30,000 in the site. We need an extra $25,000 to support the addition of paid staff for this season. Now, to tell you about the clear path that we are on, we actually worked with Corey Blackwell over at Faith, and he taught us about how to write fundraising letters. We sent out our first letter on the 1st of October. In the month of October so far, we have taken in $7,120. That is an amazing, amazing thing that God has provided for us. So actually that $25,000 is now down to $18,000. To donate to Austin's Place, you can write a check to FUMC. Just be sure to put Austin's Place in the memo line. There is also online giving available through Austin's Place website, and that address is on the flyer in the bulletin. And people, we need you to pray. Nothing is going to happen here if we don't start praying a lot. Pray for Austin's Place new staff members, Marcy, Jen, and Nicole. Pray for Terry, Stephen, and Eric, the See You at Home Street Outreach staff. Pray for the leaders and the boards of See You at Home and Austin's Place. And of course, pray for our friends on the street without an address. So here we are, October 27th. We're all dressed up, clean, fed. We came from a home that we will return to after this service is over. We'll enjoy the day. We've got a lot of fun things happening here, and we will not have one thought about where we are sleeping tonight. But I don't want this to just be another day at church. I want the story I've told you to haunt you. I want this story to come to your mind when you least expect it. I want your heart to be troubled over this story. I want that nudge from God to turn into an all-out push. It is time for men and women to have a safe place to sleep every night of every year. These are the needs right in front of us. Now I'm going to go radical right now. Historically, the 6 UNC churches in Champaign, Urbana have never worked together on a mission. But today, I'm asking that First United Methodist join with Faith United Methodist to come together and support these year-round shelters. I spoke with Faith back a couple years ago, and they've already started their response with pledges of money and donations. Now it's our turn to step forward in support of Austin's Place. Together we can show our community our faith as united Methodists. We can bring the light of Christ to this mission. We can live the words of John Wesley. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. These are the needs right in front of us. Let's get going. Amen.
We come now to a time of reflection and silent prayer. During the silent prayer, feel free to lift up any spoken prayers. Additional prayer requests may be noted on the yellow attendance sheet put in the offering plate. Now please join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever.
that if you would greet her and tell her what a great job she did. One of the things that I loved about this congregation when I came here is that you had Austin's place. It's a risky thing, it's a risky population, and you opened your doors and you have done beautiful ministry for 13 years. And going to keep doing great ministry, and I'm grateful for you for bringing everybody up to speed on where we are and where we're headed. All right, go from this place to see the people who are right before you and to share God's love with them. Go in peace.